Imagine having a dream that felt so real that you swear it actually happened. We've all had dreams like that, and sometimes those dreams are so scary that you're grateful when you wake up that they weren't real. However, for the following people, they were not that lucky. Here are 10 people whose dreams predicted the future. Number 10 is Frederick Banting. Halloween has been known to bring forth some dark imagery, especially in people's dreams. But in the case of Dr. Frederick Banting, the imagery in those dreams did far more good than harm. Before waking on the morning of October 31st, 1920, after a night of preparing for a lecture on the pancreas, Banting dreamt of conducting an experiment on dogs that he hadn't even thought of previously. Upon waking, he quickly wrote down what he somehow dreamed he had to do, and soon after discovered insulin because of it. The doctor's discovery won him a Nobel Prize in medicine and even led to him being knighted by King George V in 1934. Banting's dream and the experiment it spawned helped save the lives of millions of people and continues to do so to this very day. Number 9 is Caligula. On January 24th of the year 41 CE, Emperor Gaius Julius Augustus Germanicus, better known historically as Caligula, woke up from a dream that he should have taken much more seriously. In that dream, Caligula found himself standing before the throne of the mighty Jupiter, the king of the gods. Jupiter took it upon himself to cast Caligula out, literally kicking him out of heaven using the big toe on his right foot. Caligula tumbled along, falling back to earth, which is when he woke up. Although Jupiter appearing in his dream was widely seen at the time as a divine sign, and in this particular case, a firm warning of his impending doom, Caligula ignored the premonition and the following morning simply went about his day. That very afternoon, he was assassinated. Number 8 is several would-be Titanic passengers. Easily the most famous shipwreck the world has ever seen to date, the RMS Titanic struck an iceberg around 11:40 p.m. on April 14, 1912, and sank 2 hours and 40 minutes later. It took the lives of more than 1,500 people. Prior to the Titanic's maiden voyage, several potential passengers dropped out, having had dreams that their trip would cost them their lives. Several of them claimed to have had far too realistic dreams of drowning, or watching as many other people drowned. Others actually dreamt of the ship striking an iceberg and going down. Hundreds would later claim to have seen the disaster occur in their sleep prior to it actually sinking. Some passengers who had premonitions boarded the ship anyway, only to, sadly, have their warnings become a deadly reality as the icy waters claimed them. Number 7 is Calpurnia. The third and final wife of legendary Roman dictator Julius Caesar, Calpurnia was said to be a shy and humble woman, but on the morning of March 15th in the year 44 BCE, after she foresaw her husband's demise in a dream, she was anything but shy, attempting without success to stop the events from taking place. Calpurnia dreamt that Caesar's life was going to be taken that very day. After waking from it, she begged him not to leave the house, even asking Praetor and friend of the dictator Brutus to tell the Senate that he was ill and would not be able to attend that day. However, her husband waved off this idea, confident he wasn't in danger, and left with Brutus. Brutus being the one who actually was the one leading instigators in Caesar's assassination, which took place shortly after arriving at the Senate. Number 6 is Michael Brown. When 18-year-old Michael Brown was gunned down by Officer Darren Wilson on August 9, 2014, It sparked a nationwide conversation about race and injustice practically overnight. But during Michael's funeral, his stepmother, Cal Brown, revealed that the young man had been having dark and terrifying dreams that had shaken him. One of their final conversations consisted of Michael explaining that he didn't think that his ill stepmom would pull through. When Cal asked him why, he said that he'd been dreaming about passing away, gruesome images, and blood-soaked sheets hanging on clotheslines. At the time, Michael had apparently believed that he'd been predicting his stepmother's demise, but had somehow sadly predicted his own. Number 5 is Mark Twain. One night in 1895, American writer Samuel Clemens, better known to the world by his pen name Mark Twain, had a dream in which he was in his sister's house. Walking into the living room, he came upon 2 chairs that supported an open metal casket. To Twain's horror, laying inside that coffin was the dead body of his younger brother, Henry, dressed in one of Twain's suits and with white flowers on his chest. Twain awoke completely convinced that his brother was, in fact, dead and didn't realize otherwise for several minutes. However, 2 weeks later, after an explosion severely injured Henry, he was accidentally given an overdose of morphine and died. To Twain's shock, he was buried in a metal coffin in one of the writer's own suits and with white flowers on his chest, just like in Twain's dream. Number 4 is Sharon Tate. Obviously, there are some dreams that you simply do not want to come true, and in the case of the tragic tale of Sharon Tate, that couldn't be more true. During an August 1968 interview with reporter Dick Kleiner, the American actress and model described a dream she had recently had, one which she remembered in vivid detail due to the fact that it felt so real. In the dream, Tate saw someone with their throat cut open, tied to the staircase in her home. She somehow knew the individual was either herself or her friend, hairstylist Jay Sebring, but couldn't tell which of them the body belonged to. Less than a year after she told Kleiner about the dream, it became a sad reality, as on August 8, 1969, Tate and Sebring both lost their lives to stab wounds delivered by members of the Manson family. Number 3 is Walter Franklin Prince. On the night of November 27, 1917, American parapsychologist and Episcopal minister Walter Franklin Prince had a dream in which he was handed a note by a thin, blonde-haired woman around the age of 35. Written in red ink, the note relayed that the woman should be immediately executed, an action she seemed fine with so long as Prince agreed to hold her hand. He obliged, but soon after, everything went dark and he felt her let go of him, only to feel her severed hand in his other hand. 2 days later, he learned of the death of Sarah Hand, who had placed her own head in front of a train at a Long Island railroad station. In her handbag was a note detailing that she believed her head would stay alive once removed from her body. She may have been wrong, but Prince's dream was tragically proven right. Number 2 is Adolf Hitler. Apparently, precognition can be possessed even by the worst that humanity has to offer. As legend has it, a man many believe to be the most evil human being to ever live was warned against danger in a dream. While serving in World War I, Adolf Hitler, the then future leader of the Nazi Party, fell asleep in a trench and had a dream in which he and some of his fellow soldiers were suddenly buried under molten metal and dirt. When he awoke, Hitler quickly left the trench he'd been snoozing in. Shortly after, the trench was hit with a shell and collapsed, killing everyone in it except for, of course, Hitler himself. Just think about this for a moment. World War II could have been avoided if not for a dream the Nazi leader had, which wound up saving his life. And number 1 is President Abraham Lincoln. According to Ward Hill Lamont, a personal friend and bodyguard of Abraham Lincoln, the president had a nightmare which predicted his own fate 3 days before his assassination. In the dream, Lincoln was wandering the White House, searching for the source of mourning sounds, when he came upon a casket protected by soldiers and surrounded by crying people. He asked one of the mourners who had passed away, and received the response, "The president. He was killed by an assassin." Lincoln didn't think the body in the coffin was his, and he dismissed the dream. But on the night of April 14, 1865, the 16th President of the United States was shot while watching a play at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. He died the following morning, having dreamt of his own demise.